In this video, we will cover building the user interface for our application. We will take a look at storyboards and managing multiple storyboards. We will get familiar with the object library and what items are in that object library. And we will also take a look at positioning the elements within our storyboard file. At the moment, we have an empty storyboard file. And this is our main storyboard. When working in a larger project, it's usually a good idea to create separate storyboards for each of your views. So in this application, we're going to have a list view that lists all of our entries, and we're going to have a create view where we create entries, and a detail view where we can look at the entry that is in the table view. So let's start by creating a new view by hitting Command N, and we will create a new storyboard file. And I'm going to call this create entry. So now we have this blank screen that has no view in there whatsoever. So we will start by dragging out a view controller. And this gives us an empty view. So we have our view controller, and then we have a view embedded in the view controller. And then we can drag out different objects from this object library inside of this view. So our entry itself is going to want to have a title, and we can choose a text field to give a single line title. And notice these blue lines that appear as I drag around. There's a line for the center, there's this line at the top, and that's where the status bar is. And the status bar will have the time, your Wi-Fi connection, or your cellular connection. And then there's a margin to the left here. So I'm going to put this text field here at the left margin and the top status bar. And then I am going to drag it to the right margin. If we go to the attribute inspector, we can see all these different attributes that we can change. So right now it has this border. I don't really like that border, so I'm going to turn that border off. So if you look at the different attributes, we can see a border style, and it's set to rounded right now. This little dotted line actually makes the border disappear. So I'm going to select that, and you can see that now that view looks like it's gone, but it is still there, and it's the no border style text field here in our outliner. So if we select that again, I'm going to put some placeholder text in there. And there's this attribute placeholder, and I'm going to say enter a title. And now the user knows that they can enter a title into this text field. So a journal entry not only will have a title, but it will also have some detailed text of what they are thinking or what they want to write about. So a text field is great for a single line of text. A text view is great for multiple lines of text. So if we scroll down, keep scrolling, and we see text view. Another piece of information, there's this filter where we can start typing text field. And we actually want a text view. And we can drag this text view out, and again, against that margin, and if we start dragging down, it gives us this little blue line that is pretty standard within the spacing of iOS apps. So I try to use those blue lines to guide us to make it more at home on an iOS application. So notice that there's all this text already in there. This is just some default text that they give us to kind of try to size out our text view. Notice there's no placeholder text. So I like to kind of simulate that placeholder text by changing the color to a light gray color. And then here I just put enter a body. And then we can size it out to be as large or small as we want. So I think that size looks good for now. We're also going to want to be able to select a color for this entry and the tag, and also be able to save the entry. So for selecting the color, I want to drag in some UI views. So these UI views, we want to be small little squares or circles. So we go to the ruler, and we can change the size of these views. And I'm going to make them for now, just 60 by 60. We're probably going to want them a little bit smaller. But notice you can't see the view right now, but it is here. And we'll go to the attribute inspector and change the color to a light gray color for now. That way we can see the view. And just going by looking how big that is, we definitely want to go a little bit smaller because it's taking up a lot of space, and we're going to want probably about 7 colors to be able to choose from. And if we try to line up 7 colors across the horizontal axis here, we just won't have space. So let's look for a better space. And the human interface guidelines that Apple provides us say that a touch target must be at least 44 points by 44 points. So we'll start there, and if we get user feedback saying that that doesn't work, we will make it larger. So I'm going to start the first color in the center. And then if we Alt drag, we can make an identical copy. And then I'm just going to use the blue lines to line up our colors. And do the same thing on the left side by Alt dragging these boxes out. And now we have our 7 colors that we will be able to change. We're not going to do that just yet, because we're actually going to make these into custom views in the next video, but for now we'll just leave them as gray squares. Next we want 2 buttons. We want a button to be able to add a tag, so we'll drag that here at the bottom. We want to make sure we get it in the center, and then we can Alt drag down to have another button. So we will have a save button, and we will have add a tag button. So for the most part, our view looks pretty good. We have enter a title, enter a body, we have our color selection, we can add a tag, and we can save the entry. In the next video, we will take a deeper look at views and how they are managed in the view hierarchies.